Welcome, fantasy football nerds. You're here at the 5th Down, and today we have a special show. We got my buddy, longtime friend, Rico on the phone today to help us out with a special show that we're going to be doing today.
Hi, this is Rico.
Yep. So, we're going to be doing a little bit of positional tiers today. I got a lot of names written down. I'm not sure if we'll get through all of them, but we'll try our best. Before we get started, I know we touched on it a little bit on the last show, about the news and notes. It seems like we're getting conflicting reports on Sam Bradford wanting to be traded. Have you heard anything about that yet, Rico?
I just heard he doesn't really want to play for Philadelphia. I wouldn't want to play for them either.
Well, I don't know who would want to trade for that contract he just signed either, though. But
Philadelphia's a mess, man. Chip Kelly tore that team down. Apparently, he thought Sam Bradford was his man. Apparently, he thought Sean Jackson was not his man.
You know,
I don't know what's going on over there. Yeah. I don't want to go. If I am a professional football player and I want my career to end, I'm going to Philly.
You know, maybe Philly should send Sam Bradford over to play with Chip in San Francisco since he loves him so much.
That's what makes him happy.
All right, so basically, what this show is all about is it's putting players in tiers to help you decide like when you should draft them. Because every time you do a fantasy draft, you always get like these certain rounds where you'll go on like a run where there's a bunch of guys going in one position in a certain round, and if you have a certain set of tiers, it's going to help you decide whether you need to jump on somebody before the round or maybe you just want to wait. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to you want to start off on quarterbacks first. Who would you probably consider as a tier 1 quarterback, Rico?
Well, John, I think Cam Newton would be a tier 1 quarterback. Obviously, because of his ability to run with the football and throw with the football. He had a phenomenal season last year. I don't know if he could really duplicate that this year, but, you know, based on what he can do and the fact that his division's not that good, I would expect for him to still have really solid numbers, even if he cannot duplicate what he did last year. He's definitely a tier 1. I would say Aaron Rodgers is definitely a tier 1. I mean, you think about Aaron Rodgers, and last year he threw for like 30-something touchdowns and just under 4,000 yards. People were saying,
I mean, that's a down year for him, and he still was decent, you know?
Yeah. That's a down year for him, you know?
Yeah.
They're going to get Jordy Nelson back. You know, we've been hearing that Eddie Lacy's slimming down. I don't know. We'll see.
That's a guy I really want to look forward to in the training camp and preseason for sure.
We've got to take the Green Bay's offense to improve next year than what they were last year. So I think Aaron Rodgers will definitely be.
Just think about what that team had last year, and they went pretty far in the playoffs, if I do recall.
Yeah, I mean, they had to play Washington in the first round, and they made it to the second round because they beat Washington. I'm not gonna I'm not trying to be disrespectful towards Washington by any means, but
by all means, be disrespectful to Washington.
They were one of the weakest divisions in the NFL, besides maybe the AFC South.
I actually like the AFC South more than I like the NFC East.
It was a division where no team, in my opinion, should have been in the playoffs. None of those teams had any business being in the playoffs. But, by NFL's rules, the divisional champion is automatically in, so there was Washington.
So you got...
And Green Bay just happened to have them in the first round. It was a terrific matchup for Green Bay.
They definitely benefited off of that. So you have Newton and Rodgers as your tier 1 quarterbacks?
I think there's more than that, but those are the two that really stand out to me.
See, I've written down 3 names that I probably have in my tier 1. I would have had 4, but upon the news of Tom Brady's suspension, I had to move him out of tier 1 down to tier 3.
Right.
My tier 1 quarterbacks I do have Cam Newton and Aaron Rodgers. I think Newton Well, I think he'll be fine for next year. He does get Kelvin Benjamin coming back, which will help him out a little bit. He, like I said in the last show, he really likes to throw to those big receivers. And obviously, I think Aaron Rodgers. I have Aaron Rodgers as a guy that I think could easily be the top quarterback going into next year or finishing next year. And also, I have Andrew Luck up there, just on pure, just on pure skill. I know it really didn't show a lot last year. But maybe it's because he was playing injured. It's yet to be seen. But I do have him as my in the tier 1. Those are like my cutoffs I got like that because I think like you're probably gonna see like Newton in like round 3, maybe even.
I don't know, Johnny. I don't know if I agree with that at all. I mean, what has he really done to warrant that? I mean, he's been in the playoffs a couple times as a young quarterback. But he hasn't done anything spectacular. He got blown out twice by. He was the.
I mean, you talking about Luck?
Yeah. Who's he bringing back for weapons? Lear's gone. Reggie Wayne retired. Andre Johnson's gone. I mean, what? You're gonna throw the ball at T.Y. Hilton and a bunch of players I never heard of?
Well, I do also like Moncrief, and I think Philip Dorsett will take a big step up. They did draft him in the first round. I mean, it's all depends on how those two develop. That's going to dictate, I think, the success for Andrew Luck.
Well, I just, I know this is going to sound like a bold statement in the more towards the disrespectful category, but I think Andrew Luck's a little overrated. I do. I think people are really quick to jump on his bandwagon. Well, I don't understand why.
I obviously have Luck going a little bit later than I have Newton and Rodgers. I think Newton will go in like the beginning of the 3rd. I think Aaron Rodgers will be in the 3rd round. I think Luck falls more into that 4th round, in my opinion. That's where I have that cutoff for those top talent quarterbacks. I mean, I guess you could probably try to put Russell Wilson up there with them, but he's a little bit of a guy that just had an explosion towards the second half, so we're not quite sure what we're going to get out of him. Is he going to continue that streak, or is he going to go more towards the traditional run-style offense that Seattle likes to employ? So we'll see what happens there. What do you think about that? Do you don't think Russell Wilson belongs in that tier?
I think he's a tier 2 quarterback just for the fact that they're not really an explosive passing offense.
The volume just isn't there for him in the passing game.
They run the ball with Marshawn Lynch. They play good defense, and then they have a few of those broken plays every game where Russell Wilson will take off. It seems like more often than not, the damage he really does to his legs. He'll make a few really, really nice throws a game, but to say that he's up there with Tom Brady or an Aaron Rodgers or a Cam Newton, that's just disrespectful to Cam Newton and Tom Brady, in my opinion.
I mean, well, one could argue that he could be throwing the ball now without Marshawn Lynch. I know they got Thomas Rawls there. He had a little small sample of what he could do last year, and he did.
Well, one could argue that he ain't got no one to throw the ball to either. I mean, if you look at these names of players on their team, Baldwin, Javon Curse,
Tyler Lockett,
Jimmy Graham, who turned out to be a complete bust for that team.
He's not. I don't think. I'm not expecting anything out of him next year at all.
None of these guys are anything that you're. If I'm a defensive coordinator, none of these guys are anything I'm scared of.
Doug Baldwin did have 14 touchdowns last year.
I know. I understand the numbers.
I mean, I think like 11 of them. I think 11 of them came during that little surge that he had, but I don't know if he's going to be able to sustain those kind of numbers. I think maybe he might get. I think he might get a little bit of an uptick, though. I think they will throw the ball a little bit more going into next year, but I don't think it's enough to warrant him into that top tier. I think I have Russell Wilson as a tier 2 quarterback as well. With who else would you?
With best receiver, you're fucking up as an organization.
I agree. I think they should bring some more talent over there. Who else do we want to put in this tier 2, Rico?
For quarterbacks?
Yes.
I said Russell Wilson's a tier 2 quarterback.
Yeah, we both agree there. I got him as a top, tier 2 quarterback. Well, I also have Big Ben, Carson Palmer, and Drew Brees in there as well.
Yeah, Carson Palmer's good. You know he's going to be good.
One of the most consistent quarterbacks last year.
They like to throw the ball deep a lot with John Brown and Michael Floyd. That offense is going to put up points. Billy Johnson's a good running back. The team wins. They could be scary. I kind of was blown away by the fact they got blown out by Carolina the way they did. But
I think he was just trying to do a little bit too much in that game. He was making some really ill-advised throws, and it looked like a Madden football game.
It just looked atrocious. I couldn't even watch it. I turned it off like midway to the second quarter. It was already like 24-0 or something like that. Midway to the second quarter. It was terrible. But with all that being said, I do feel like Texas Palmer still has good football left in him, and I feel like Bruce Arians, his style of coaching and his aggressive mentality, well, they're going to air it out.
I mean, you really couldn't ask for a better trio of receivers to throw to either.
I'm a little bit afraid of Larry Fitzgerald. He's getting up there in age. He kind of came back pretty strong last year, but I would be hesitant to draft Larry Fitzgerald on my fantasy football team.
Yeah, if you guys seen my article that I written, I do have Larry Fitzgerald as a bust this year. I mean, it has a little bit to do with his age, but it has more so to do with the fact that I think that Michael Floyd is going to take over that team as the number one receiver next year. I really do.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like John Brown and Michael Floyd are just going to gradually phase him out.
Bruce Arians even came out and said that he thinks that Michael Floyd can have a 1,500-yard season. He thinks that he just really suffered about the early injury to his fingers last year. I think that if he just stays healthy, he's fast. He can catch the deep ball. He's a pretty good receiver. Maybe not the touchdown or the over the middle monster that Fitzgerald is, but that's what Fitzgerald does. He's a red zone target.
And that's why Fitzgerald will still be useful because he will go over the middle, and he's got great hands. Those are things that don't go away with age. He's a tough dude. He's a courageous dude. He can catch the ball. That's not going to go away.
Yeah. Would you put Ben Roethlisberger in that tier 2?
Oh man, I would have, but last year he had an injury-riddled season, so I'd be kind of scared of him if I was drafting.
Trust me, you're preaching to the choir, man. I drafted him last year, having high hopes that he'd do well because I really believed in him, and he did really good when he played, but he was getting injured quite a bit. I think on just the offense he plays and the talent that he possesses and the talent that's around him, I would put him in the tier 2. But yes, injury risk is something that you have to think about when you're drafting him.
The potential's there, If you got Le'Veon Bell in the backfield, you're throwing the ball at Antonio Brown. I mean, what more could you ask for there? He's got the weapons around him, and he's got the talent.
Yeah, even without Martavius Bryant, they still have plenty of talent on that team. They just signed Darius Green, which I think is a great asset for them. A great replacement for Heath Miller. He may not be the blocker that Miller was, but he can definitely get down in the seam routes over the middle. I really like that. So that's why. Yeah, he finally gets to show what he can do. The last guy I have in the tier 2 is Drew Brees. I'm not really a big fan of Drew Brees going into next season. He has a pretty rough schedule, but he's Drew Brees. You got to put him in the tier 2, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with that. And the reason why I agree with that, Johnny, is because it's New Orleans. They're a pass-heavy team.
The volume's there.
They're a team that's played atrocious defense. They're going to be behind a lot, so they're going to be throwing the ball a lot.
Every game, there was a lot of games last year that were just shootouts.
But, I think Drew Brees next year they're behind him, and I would not be in a hurry to grab Drew Brees,
I mean,
he might be better off. If you're thinking about drafting Drew Brees in a tier 2, if that's the plan you're hatching, maybe you're better off just waiting a few more rounds and trying to scoop up somebody like.
There's definitely there's definitely a deep quarterback class. I think he's a little bit down for people because of what he did last year. Like, he was up and down last year. He was really turning it on towards the end of the year, but he has an atrocious schedule. You know about his schedule? He plays, I think, like, he plays Seattle, the Rams, and Denver all at home. He has to play the Cardinals on the road. He has to play, there's another team that he plays on the road that it's not a very good schedule. Well, Kansas City is what it is. He also plays Kansas City on the road. It's just not a very good schedule for him. I mean, you gotta think, last year, most of his games that he did well in was at home, and he has to go against 3 tough defenses at home.
I'm sure I'm not going to take that into consideration. But I don't think,
he doesn't really have a true number 1 receiver either. He has Brandon Cooks, but he's like a nice number 2. But like, who else is there really? I mean, they signed Kobe Fleener.
But Drew Brees is Drew Brees, man. He's just like Tom Brady or Peyton Manning. You can give him dog meat, and he can turn it into sirloin steak, man. That's what Drew Brees does. He makes wide receivers good.
I mean, if you look at his stats last year, he actually had some pretty good stats. He had like 4,700 yards passing, 32 touchdowns. I think he had like 12, 13 interceptions or something like that. Like, he had pretty good numbers. So
it's just good now because the team ain't winning. And they're not going to win. It's not going to change. They're terrible. They're terrible. But if you want a QB that you can trust to put up numbers, get a lot of passing yards, I definitely agree that Drew Brees will put up a lot of passing yards. I just don't think he is scary. He used to be scary.
Yeah, he used.
If I play Drew Brees, I'm like, God.
Yeah, he used to be guaranteed 5,000 yards.
It's not like he was passing for 300 yards and 4 touchdowns a game,
Yeah.
It's not like he was that good. He's not quite at that level anymore, but he's still pretty good. He just doesn't have the weapons around him. The team's not very good.
It kind of seems like New Orleans is like more of in like a rebuilding stage, and they're kind of hitting in a different direction.
Yeah, you get the feeling that he's holds on as long as they can, as long as he can, because he's trying to be loyal to New Orleans and allow them to rebuild. Like, once he's gone, it's really over. He's a face of that franchise.
Yeah, and there's been some talks that there might be a chance he might not be with New Orleans in 2017 because of his contract.
I mean, that wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me. You got to move on sooner or later.
Yep.
But who knows? The guy could come out and have a year like Brett Favre had with the Minnesota Vikings. We don't know. Nothing's ever really for certain. We can speculate, but the guy could come out and play on his mind. Or the guy could play, like a 39-year-old quarterback on a mediocre football team.
All right.
It'll be exciting.
We're gonna move on. We spent quite a bit of time on Drew Brees here. I want you to try to rattle off some names that you'd put in the tier 3.
You want me to rattle off some names in the tier 3?
Yeah, I just want to know where your head's at.
What about Tom Brady?
That's where I have Tom Brady in the tier 3 solely on the basis that he's being suspended for 4 games.
Okay. When I think of tiers, well, I guess to understand the tiers, you have to understand the numbers, right? So, what would you say if a quarterback put up 3,500 yards and 30 touchdown passes? What tier would that be to you?
I mean, you'd like more yards, but you can't deny the touchdowns, really, right?
I'm just asking you, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3?
Well, let's just put it this way. I got 4 quarterbacks in the tier 3, and they all have passed for over 4,000 yards last year, except for Derek Carr.
Who?
I got the quarterbacks I have in tier 3. I got Tom Brady, I got Blake Bortles, Eli Manning, and Derek Carr. They all threw for 4,000 yards last year, except for Derek Carr. The only reason why I have Derek Carr in there is he did throw for quite a bit of touchdowns, and it's a number that I think he can repeat.
See, I would rather have Matthew Stafford or Philip Rivers before I took any of those guys. That's just me.
Well, the reason why I didn't put Rivers and Stafford up there is on the simple fact that they're just not going as early as them. They're going much later, so maybe they might be a better value, but they're just going later.
Right, but you're asking me a simple question on who's a tier 3.
Yeah, you're saying you'd put Rivers and Stafford in tier 3? I got them. I mean, I got them right there. They're in tier 4, so they're like not. It's not like a big difference.
You didn't ask me what kind of value do I think they're going to get. I mean, I would take Eli Manning any day over Derek Carr or Blake Bortles. I'm not gonna watch 1 year of 1 year of Derek Carr and just say that he's good. I think that's a ridiculous thing to do. But I think people do that. Eli Manning's been in the league for 10 years.
Anyone
can have one great season and then be garbage and be out of the NFL in 4 years, but
Eli has been putting up some amazing numbers these past 2 seasons as well. Back-to-back 4,400-yard seasons. He had his career high of 35 touchdown passes last year. It really helped to have. He's one of the best weapons in the NFL, and he has a great offensive coordinator. It's a pretty good combo.
Yeah.
And I'm really not a big believer in Blake Bortles either, but I do have him I guess in that area.
He had decent numbers.
He did. I think he had he right around 4,000 yards, and he had over 30 touchdown passes. He also had quite a bit of interceptions as well, though. I think he had 18 interceptions.
I mean, he also plays in a terrible division. He also plays on a terrible team that's always losing. And let's be honest, he plays on a team that other teams don't take seriously. So do you think teams really game plan to stop Blake Bortles? Do you think the teams know who these guys are and are really afraid of him? No. Not if the word got out that, this Blake Bortles can't control a little bit if you don't take him seriously. They'll get a little bit better game plans, and we'll see how they do this year.
Yeah, they appeared to be a little bit pass happy last year. I mean, but who wouldn't when you had 2 receivers that were putting up fantastic numbers? So, I think though I do see them running the ball a little bit more now next year though, for sure. Especially in the red zone now that they have Chris Ivory. I think they will be less tempted to just throw the ball in the red zone.
People are so quick to talk about. I hear it all the time at work. I have some football fans I work with. They're so quick to talk about how great a number Blake Bortles put up, or how much these two receivers for Jacksonville, they're studs. Well, if they're saying they have a stud league, how come Jacksonville can't win a game?
I mean, a lot of it had to do with their defense as well, but yeah, I get where you're coming from.
And how much of their stats are garbage time stats? I mean,
that's Allen Hurns all the way.
Stats are misleading, can be misleading. But then again, fantasy football, I guess the whole point of fantasy football is stats.
I mean, you got to think the majority of Jordan Matthews' stats came in garbage time. He ended up finishing, I think, wide receiver 20 last year, and he was the garbage time king.
We can talk about him later. We're talking about quarterbacks right now, though. I'm not sold about Derek Carr. I'm not sold about Blake Bortles.
I got Blake Bortles as a bust this year, actually.
I would be surprised if it was busts.
All right, we're gonna move.
I'll take Matthew Stafford as a tier 3. I'll take Philip Rivers as a tier 3, and I'll take Eli Manning as a tier 3. And yes, I would agree with you. I do think that people undervalue them, and you could probably wait around later to get some of these guys. Philip Rivers is aging. He doesn't have a strong arm. Matthew Stafford is losing Calvin Johnson. Nobody respects the Lions. Nobody respects Matthew Stafford. Nobody thinks he's a good quarterback. And then you whip it. Go ahead.
My opinion on Matthew Stafford and Philip Rivers, those are kind of guys that I would really like to if I were to draft them, I would really, after you get to week 6 or week 7, I'd really like to trade them while they're hot. Because Matthew Stafford has an excellent schedule for the beginning of the season, and Phillip Rivers usually starts off pretty good and then kind of ends kind of crummy. So those are 2 guys that would look to be if I had them on my team, I'd look to trade.
I don't know about that, but you wish you don't.
Hey, I got both of those players in tier 4 along with Andy Dalton and Matt Ryan.
I don't understand how you can say that you're going to trade a player. You're going to drop the player and then trade him when the season hasn't even started yet. You don't know that they're going to play poorly.
Well, I'm just saying, I'm just judging them based off of Matthew Stafford's schedule and Phillip Rivers' history.
I mean, Matthew Stafford's schedule, the Lions played one of the whole NFC North plays one of the weakest schedules in the NFL.
They do have a very strong schedule. That's what I just said.
No, they have a weak schedule.
Yeah, their schedule is not hard at all.
And Detroit's running game is not good. You know they're going to pass the ball a lot. And they lost Calvin Johnson. But I'm not too worried about Calvin Johnson. I think for most fans that are not Detroit Lions fans will tell you is that last year Calvin Johnson wasn't very good.
It seemed like he struggled to get open. Like he struggled to get separation. I agree. He wasn't the same.
If you look at Calvin Johnson's numbers from last year, they looked pretty good. He had 1,200 yards and 8 or 9 touchdowns. That looked fairly solid, but
3 of them came in one game.
Most of that damage was done in the 2 games against Chicago and then the Thanksgiving game against Philly where he had 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, that's what I said. 3 of them came against Philly.
You took those 3 games away, and now all of a sudden Megatron's got 800 yards and 4 touchdowns.
I mean, there's a reason why he's retiring.
It's not very impressive.
You know what? I think losing Calvin Johnson might actually help Stafford out a little bit. It seemed like he liked to force the ball to him a lot, even when he had other people open, and now maybe he has to spread the ball around more.
I think the one reason losing Megatron hurts you is because in the red zone, having Megatron makes you a lot harder to stop. Teams will cover Megatron in the red zone because they'll be worried about the fade or the quick slant over the middle. And now that he's gone, you don't get that.
I think maybe it'd have to be like, who do you think would be like the next red zone guy that they would have? Like Eric Ebron, if you can find a way to catch the ball, or what do you think?
I think Theo Riddick's slipping out of the backfield.
Yeah, he had some touchdown catches last year.
I think he's going to get more. He's going to get matched up on linebackers, and they can't cover him one-on-one. They'll run little crossing routes or routes over the middle, and he'll beat them all day. Or they'll run big plays for Grand State over the middle. He's pretty good at that.
So you said that you wouldn't put Bortles or Carr in tier 3. Like where do you have them then?
I think we're tier 4.
So you'd swap those 2 out for Rivers and Stafford?
Yeah, I would put Stafford, Rivers, and Eli Manning ahead of them.
Yeah, who else would you put in tier 4 with the 2 young guys?
Actually, I would put them all in tier 3. How about that?
Well, then who's your tier 4 quarterbacks then?
The player is somebody that I don't want at all. So that's
But would you want an Andy Dalton or a Matt Ryan?
Yeah, tier 4 to me is Andy Dalton, Matt Ryan, Jameis Winston, Kirk Cousins.
It's interesting you said those 2.
And yeah, that's my tier 4 right there. Tier 3, you might be better off drafting a tier 3 quarterback late. Cam Newton's going to come off the board quick. Aaron Rodgers will probably come off the board real quick. Maybe you might be better off wanting to load up your team like that wide receivers and running back. Just waiting until later round to grab someone like Eli Manning.
Yeah, I'm not. I know, like the 5th down here, we've been real advocates on waiting on to draft your quarterback because I'm not a real big fan of drafting like your Cam Newtons and Aaron Rodgers and Andrew Luck's all real early like that, because I feel like that hurts your team a little bit, because you could be getting some wide receivers and running backs in those rounds. So I'm really big on either getting a good value out of a quarterback or waiting, like you said, waiting later to get like your Eli Mannings or your Phillip Rivers and players like those.
I like the concept of stacking as well, where you draft a quarterback and wide receiver, they're both on the same team.
I mean,
let's say you have Aaron Rodgers and Jordy Nelson both on your team.
I mean, if you have a prolific offense, that works. If it's a prolific offense, I don't have a problem with it. But if it's like I don't know, like a Blake Bortles and Allen Robinson, I'm not really too happy about that.
Well, I mean, you gotta know who you're drafting.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Because say if that offense gets shut down, they're both going to hurt you if you do that. But that's why if you do it on a team with a prolific offense, then it would probably work out a lot more.
Oh, I feel it's a hit or miss concept.
Yeah.
You know, if you have Aaron Rodgers and Jordy Nelson and they're playing the Seattle Seahawks on prime time and they get shut down, well, then now your team's not going to perform as well. There's three better players.
We had a guy in our league last year. He drafted Jordy Nelson and Randall Cobb. I thought that was kind of crazy, and it kind of hurt because what happened to Nelson too. And then so later on in the year, he ended up picking up James Jones. He had to have been a Packers fan. He had to have been.
Yeah. He had to have been. And a lot of fans are not realistic, you know, and what I mean by that is I feel like fans are overly loyal to their favorite teams. Like, if you ever...
You can't be a homer.
Teams that bet on teams that put money down on their favorite teams to win, when clearly...
They're going to lose.
Your favorite team is not the better team in this matchup. You're just being a homer pick right there. But that's not where the smart money is. And I feel like a smart person that plays these kind of things knows, like, you know what, I know this is my favorite team, but, you know, am I going to draft Ty Montgomery because I'm a Green Bay Packers fan? No. No.
I would not advise against that. I would not advise that. Yeah. Okay. We're gonna get a little bit on topic. I'm gonna rattle you off some of my tier 5 quarterbacks. I mean, there's some interesting names in here. I think there's one actually pretty decent value if you can stay healthy. My tier 5 quarterbacks is Tannehill, Winston, Cousins, Tony Romo, and Marcus Mariota. I'm not a real big fan on a lot of these guys, but there is a couple of names that I wouldn't mind having.
Tony Romo?
I think if Tony Romo could stay healthy, he could be a steal this year in a draft, because he is going kind of late because of his age and because of his injury issues he's had.
I agree with that. That's a fair statement.
And I actually hate Tannehill. I'm really not a big fan of Cousins. Winston, he's too young to judge. He had a pretty good rookie season. We'll see if he can build off of that.
I like Jameis Winston. I like his leadership skills, but
he needs to cut down on his turnovers a little bit, and I think his numbers were boosted a little bit by the 6 rushing touchdowns. But if he can cut down on the turnovers, I think that he could borderline that quarterback 1 area.
Well, Tampa Bay, it sucks.
The one thing he has going for them, though, is he does have a pretty balanced offense with Doug Martin, and he has Mike Evans. Maybe ASJ can stay healthy. Vincent Jackson's kind of I kind of hope that they draft a wide receiver to help them out, but we'll see if that remains to be seen.
Listen to me, any fantasy football fans that are listening, stay away from any offensive players that play for Tampa Bay. Just do it, because you're going to end up drafting Doug Martin in the 1st or 2nd round, and he's going to get hurt in week 3, and he's going to burn you.
That's why I'm a big advocate on Charles Sims.
Just I know, Tampa Bay is too much risk.
Is there
they can't even play well against teams like, like New Orleans at home. They can't even win games like that. They don't. No.
Is there any other quarterbacks that you think are worth mentioning?
No, I think we talked about Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees, Cam Newton, River. I think we pretty much hit it all on the head. I mean, what do you expect? Are there any quarterbacks that you expect a lot out of this year? Or who do you think's the biggest bust?
The biggest bust? I think the biggest bust is going to be Blake Bortles.
Who do you think's going to be the biggest sleeper?
My biggest sleeper is a guy that might not even get drafted this year. My biggest sleeper is Joe Flacco. He's a deep sleeper. I know.
We didn't even mention him.
I got Joe Flacco in here. He has an excellent schedule next year, and that's why I have him up. That's why I have him where I have him like a guy that could probably sneak into that top 15 area, maybe even the top 12 if he catches fire. Because he had his schedule. I think he has like the second best schedule for the quarterbacks this year. So that's something to look into. And it's a guy. It's a guy that you could pick with your last pick in the draft. Like he's not a guy that gets drafted typically. So.
Joe Flacco?
Yeah. I mean.
He's a pretty good quarterback.
He's a guy that I think he finished in the top 12 maybe like once or twice in his career, if that. So, but I think this could be a year where he could get close to that.
Well, I mean, you got to think about it, and I understand why Baltimore is not a high-scoring offense. You think of Baltimore, you don't think of a team that throws the ball a lot. You think of a team that plays defense and runs the ball, and
I'm really not expecting a whole lot out of Steve Smith, and they picked up Mike Wallace, which that doesn't really do anything for me. Rashard Perriman, I mean, I know he didn't really play his rookie year, but I heard that he's just like an average talent anyhow. I think they really need to add on to his arsenal because their tight ends are a mess. They have like 4 different tight ends. Like the only thing they really got going for them is a couple of decent running backs.
Yeah, I don't think. I think Joe Flacco's good, but I think the system he's in and the team he's in does not make him a great fantasy football option. Maybe if you pick up 2 quarterbacks, maybe if you're somebody that wants to have 2 quarterbacks on your team.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if you're picking him up at the end of the draft, he's obviously going to be your backup. You're just going to stash him the bench. You know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe your original starter has a bye week, or
maybe he just catches fire too, though. You know?
Yeah.
It can't hurt. I mean, at the very worst, he sucks, and you drop him, and you pick up somebody better.
You can trade him away for a backup running back or something.
Trade him away for I don't know, a bag of Skittles.
Yep. I like it.
All right, we're gonna move over to running backs here.
I can't believe those asswipes fired you for not shutting up our gas for 6 weeks.
Just losing the truck that pissed him off the most.
Well, you can camp out here for a while.
Well, this is pretty sweet. Is this couch fold out to a bed?
Yeah, totally great bed. But that's Jenkins' bed. Your bed's over here.
Dude, that is so fucking weak. How am I supposed to get a chick in that?
Oh, don't worry, dude. You couldn't get a chick if you had a $100 bill hanging out of your zipper.
Yeah, I could.
No, dude, you're a little bitch.
I am not. I don't even know why I hang out with you guys.
Because you're a piece of shit.
I am not a piece of shit.
Well, yeah, but you're a little bitch. Sure are.
God damn it, man. I swear you guys rip on me 13 or 14 more times, I'm out of here.
Oh, whatever. Dude, I gotta show you.
All right, so now we're gonna get into our running backs a little bit. I mean, I'm pretty sure we'll most likely agree with the tier 1 running backs. Who do you got as a tier 1 running back?
Tom Brady, because he's just a stud, and
I got
a lot of other weapons around him, so he's figured to get a ton of carries and looks as he's a rude dog, So he's definitely up there.
Yeah, I got Gurley in there.
I think Adrian Peterson is about as safe as a pick as you can get, even at this age. You know,
I was
he's had to cut down on the fumbles a little bit.
I was just
He has had injuries in the past, but assuming that guy stays healthy for the full season, he's probably got to be good for at least 1,200, 1,300 yards and somewhere close to 10 touchdowns.
10, 11 touchdowns. I mean, he's not going to catch the ball as much as he used to because they got Jared McKinnon for that. But I was about to ask you whether or not the age was going to scare you away from him. To me, I think he's pretty solid, though. I got him as a tier 1. I got Gurley as a tier 1. I also got Le'Veon Bell, despite his injury risk, got him as a tier 1.
I mean, I don't think that Adrian Peterson's a number 1 pick, or I don't think he's a top 3 or 4 pick, but I feel like it's just
he's
in the first round, and maybe it's like
he's currently going right around the 8th or 9th pick overall.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Maybe towards the end of the first round, where like Antonio Brown and Rob Gronkowski.
Antonio Brown's currently going like 1st overall in most drafts, actually.
Yeah, I can see that. Well, look at what he's done.
Yeah.
But I feel not too off topic, but I feel like it's, you know, those guys, they've come off the board. Why not stack up Adrian Peterson right after them? You know, I feel like that's a safe pick.
I kind of have like Gurley and Bell kind of being like one of those top 5 guys, and then they got like Adrian Peterson a little bit later after that.
Yeah, Le'Veon Bell's definitely up there. He had a pretty bad injury last year, but
you know,
if they were a dual threat, you know, that's definitely something to look out for.
I know there's a lot of people that really love Le'Veon Bell, and if Le'Veon Bell is to fall to my hands, I'd try to trade him to one of those people that just really love him and maybe try to get like a couple of players for him too. So there's always that you want to keep in mind. Is there anybody else that you would consider putting in that tier 1?
I think. That's what no.
Okay, then who would you consider putting in the tier 2?
David Johnson, maybe Devontae Freeman.
What about Jamal Charles?
Well, I'm kind of scared of Jamal Charles. He's got a lot of injury problems. I don't know. I feel like these injuries are going to catch up to him. His career is getting cut short. I don't know how much he's got left.
Yeah, my tier 2, I got leading off. I got David Johnson, and then I go into Lamar Miller, and then I do have Jamal Charles as the tail end of that tier 2. That's about where I'd cut it off from right there, though.
Yeah, I see that Lamar Miller's numbers and just seeing his name next to tier 2 just sounds like a joke to me. I don't believe it.
I think that he's finally going to get the kind of workload that he wants in Houston. Just if you look at the way that they used to use Arian Foster, I think that he could put up similar numbers. I mean, granted, he barely got like 200 touches last year, and he was a top 5 running back.
Well, that actually just jumped out at you though.
Speed. He does have some. He does have really good speed. He has that ability to get that 80-yard touchdown. He does catch the ball pretty good out of the backfield. His vision is a little bit off, though. I don't think he has the greatest vision in the world, but I think, and I do think that sometimes, like, he'll be trying to dance around a little bit too much and end up getting hit in the backfield. That does tend to happen sometimes. I'm not saying he's the greatest running back in the world, but I would put him in tier 2 for sure.
You know what I said about Tampa Bay players and Doug Martin. I would take Doug Martin over Lamar Miller.
Would you put Doug Martin in tier 2?
If he can stay healthy, I'd put him in tier 2. I don't know if he can stay healthy, so I'm put him in tier 3.
Yeah, I was gonna put Doug Martin in a tier 2, but I just couldn't find myself to do it because of like the fact that he's had a good rookie season and he was good last year, and he sandwiched in a couple of pretty crummy seasons in between. So I don't really know what you're getting out of him. Like maybe he just balled out really hard for that contract, or maybe that's just who he is. it's yet to be seen.
Mike Williams for Tampa Bay did the same thing, the wide receiver.
Yeah, now he's like not even in the league anymore.
Yeah, he had a great rookie year. We had double digit touchdowns. Then he had he calmed down over 200 receiving yards. Then he had another year where he had 900 yards and 10 touchdowns, and then again another terrible year. And then he went to Buffalo, and now he's out of the league. Like you just said.
Okay, so.
Good.
So you don't have Lamar Miller as a tier 2. Where do you got him among the league?
I mean, for argument's sake, we'll put him as tier 3 because he's probably the lead dog and he'll get some touches. But I'm not even looking at him, to be honest.
Who else would you put in tier? Who would you put in tier 3 with him?
What's up?
Who would you put in tier 3 with him?
That's a good question.
You probably have. Do you have Jamal Charles there with him?
Yeah, Jamal Charles, Doug Martin, Eddie Lacy. Maybe whoever wins that battle in Dallas between Darren McFadden or Alfred Morris. One of those guys at tier 3. I feel like they're all a mess, but if they can somehow, if Tony Romo can stay healthy, when that team can stay organized and have a solid game plan and win games, I wouldn't be surprised if
trust.
Put together a good year. Or if he got hurt and Alfred Morris came in, we've seen what Alfred Morris can do.
What's funny is I don't think I got any Dallas. I don't even write any Dallas running backs down, just because I think.
The offensive line was a beast.
I know. I'm just saying, I could see them both cutting into each other's time. I'm not a big fan of the Dallas running backs. I mean, I do like them both. If one of them gets hurt, then I'll like that other one get. But let's just put it this way, guys. I said this on the last show. You're doing a live draft, and you're looking at McFadden. My question is, are you drunk or are you sober? If you're sober, don't draft him. If you're drunk, then draft him. Because if you're sober, that means you're drafting him too early.
I got you.
And
if we're drafting him as soon as the 6th round, you're fucked up.
Well, I mean, that's kind of where he's going. It's the 5th or 6th round, and I think I'd rather have Morris because he's going later, to be honest.
I feel like one of those two could be a hell of a pickup.
I mean, think about this. His best years in Washington is when they were running the zone blocking scheme, and that's what Dallas likes to run. So it could be conceivable that he could outperform McFadden, or McFadden's an injury-prone running back. Maybe he just gets hurt and he just gets to be the starter because he's hurt.
The thing that makes this situation so interesting is they're both completely opposite players. McFadden is just completely nothing but speed. That's all he really brings to the table.
And Morris is more of a one-cut guy.
And Morris is just, I'm going to run you over type player. I'm going to hit the whole hard, I'm big, and I'm just going to hold my shoulder and,
You know what I think hurts more?
Outside a lot.
Yeah, what hurts Alfred Morris, though, is he brings nothing to the table in terms of the passing game. He doesn't really block very well. He doesn't catch very well.
He does stay healthy a lot better than Darren McFadden.
He's never. I don't think he's ever missed a game.
He's pretty durable.
Yeah. A couple of guys that I have. I'm sorry. I have a lot.
I think Alfred Morris should be a sleeper.
He is. If you read my article, I do have him as my sleeping running back.
I think Jonathan Stewart's probably a tier 3 running back. The dude's as talented as anybody if he can stay healthy.
I got him a little bit later. My tier 3 running backs I got is Mark Ingram. I got Freeman, Doug Martin, and Thomas Rawls.
Yeah, I don't know why people are so high on Thomas Rawls. I don't even know anything about the guy,
I mean, I'm actually a lot lower on him than a lot of other people. A lot of other people have him as a guy that might go towards the back end of the first, early second. I think he's more of a late 3rd round pick in my opinion. I mean, when he played for the amount of weeks he played last year, during that time he was like the second best running back in the league in terms of fantasy points per game. So there is that.
Yeah, sure.
I know it's a small sample size though, so.
Yeah.
He went undrafted for a reason.
Maybe this is an ignorant way of thinking, but I think of it this way. I don't even think it's that ignorant way of thinking, but to some it might be. I consider myself a pretty knowledgeable football fan. I pay attention to teams, and I know a lot of the players, and I know, and I feel like if I haven't heard of you, you're not that good. So the sense that I haven't really heard much about Thomas Rawls, who is he? I'm not going to go draft somebody that I don't know anything about. And if you want to say, do research, I do plenty of reading about the NFL. So he can't be that superb.
Oh, I mean, he was an undrafted free agent for a reason, right?
You want to put Thomas Rawls in the same category as Doug Martin or Devontae Freeman? No. At least those guys have proven themselves. At least they've proven what they can do.
I'm gonna name off some players that I actually have in tier 4, and I want you to tell me whether you take them over Thomas Rawls. Okay?
Are you gonna ask me if I would take them over Thomas Rawls?
Yeah, I'm naming some of the guys that I have listed as tier 4, and I want you to tell me whether you'd take them over Thomas Rawls.
Okay.
I got DeMarco Murray.
It depends if it's Dallas DeMarco Murray or Philadelphia DeMarco Murray.
It's Tennessee DeMarco Murray. We don't really know.
Yeah, no.
LaShawn McCoy.
Yeah, I took LaShawn McCoy over Thomas Rawls.
Latavius Murray.
No.
Jeremy Langford.
No, don't really know too much about him. I know he kind of splashed a little bit on Chicago, but it's just such a small sample size. I'm not. That's
what I have in the tier 4. I know there's some guys in the tier 5 that I'd probably take over some of those players, but that's what I'd have right now at this point in the season.
I know this is a little bit of a homer pick for me as a Lions fan, but I'm pretty high on that Theo Riddick bandwagon. That guy burst on the scene, and that dude, he led the NFL in catches last year for running backs, and he
have.
He doesn't have that same role. He's electric. He makes dudes miss all over the field.
I have Theo Riddick down in the tier 7 with a lot of other receiving backs that are there, like Gio Bernard, T.J. Yeldon, Woodhead, Ajayi, like those type of running backs.
Because Theo Riddick's not used as a runner very often.
They very sparingly give him any carries. That's the only issue I have with him. Honestly, I'd like to see them use him as like a slot receiver. That'd be kind of interesting.
But if you already have a stud running back, and if you're playing a league with a flex player, he might be an interesting flex player to have.
You know what? I think I did at one point play him in one of my leagues as in the flex. Like, it's not unheard of.
It's not uncommon to see Theo Riddick come out and get 6 catches for 80 yards and a touchdown. He's certainly capable of doing that.
I mean, who would you kind of like to put in like the tier 4, like behind some of the guys that you already named?
Tier 4s and 5s? Oh. I don't know, man. I would think of players like Mark Ingram, Chris Johnson on Arizona.
The only thing I don't like about him is, like, I don't know if he's actually going to be starting next year.
Yeah. Well, I look at tier 4 and 5 running backs as running backs that they're playing a running back by committee. Maybe they're decent at receiving, or maybe they're a decent power back, so they might get some goal line touchdowns.
Well,
they're not lead dog type runners.
Here's some of my tier 5s that I have. I got like players like you said, they might not get like the bulk, but I got like Jeremy Hill, I got a Dion Lewis, Forte. I got Stewart and C.J. Anderson.
I'm agree with C.J. Anderson. I think he's definitely worth picking up if he's around in your later rounds. And
he's probably going like fourth, fifth round right now.
Yeah, I can see that. C.J. Anderson, I'm totally on board with that. C.J. Spiller, he's an injury risk.
No, I didn't say Spiller.
I thought I heard you say C.J. Spiller.
No, I said Hill, Lewis. I said Dion Lewis. That's probably who you were thinking of. He's an injury risk.
Yeah, he is.
I got Forte and Jonathan Stewart.
Forte, I think he's not as good as he once was.
I think he still has a little bit left in the tank, but yeah, I agree. He's not as good as he used to be, but I think he still has a little bit left in the tank. He didn't really slow down last year. He just got hurt.
The good thing about Forte is he's a 3-down back. He can catch the ball, he can block, and he can run, so he doesn't come out of the game.
What do you think about him going to the Jets, though?
What's up?
What do you think about him going to the Jets, though, with Powell and Kari Robinson? I mean, they came out and said that they think he might be a 3-down back still.
I'm just saying, you already established that you have some group over there with Brandon Marshall, Eric Decker, Ryan Fitzpatrick, who's not a serviceable quarterback. They won 10 games last year, almost made the playoffs.
I mean, the real question is, are they going to bring Fitzpatrick back as the key quarterback?
I mean, they should, unless they're going to get something better for him.
Apparently, he just wants too much money. Like, they were like far apart on contract talks last time I heard.
Well, I mean, they got to figure something out. Because Ryan Fitzpatrick's an old journeyman quarterback. I don't think there's going to be a lot of teams that are in demand at this stage of the game for him. So I think he needs to take his battle a little bit wider. I don't think he's that good. I think he's played well.
I think he fit the system really well that they have over there. And it doesn't. It also helped that he had like two pretty good receivers to throw to in the red zone.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
I don't think he's that good. I think if you let him launch, you're not really. It won't be that bad.
I'm sure they'll do something before the season starts. My tier 6 running backs is probably my smallest tier that I have, but I know you're going to disagree with one of them because I think you're a lot higher on him than I am. My tier 6 running backs, I have Eddie Lacy, Carlos Hyde, and I got Ryan Matthews.
Ooh, Carlos Hyde.
I
forgot about Carlos Hyde.
I mean, only reason why I have him this low is just because of the team that he plays for. He plays for a team that's a shitload of fuck, and they're a mess. He should get the bulk of the carries. He really has nobody behind him.
I'm saying if he carries the ball anywhere near 300 times,
he'll be at least a running back too, right?
You gotta believe he's gonna put up good numbers.
I mean, if he gets like close to 300 carries, he should easily finish in the top 24 in running backs, right?
Yeah.
Maybe I'm a little bit low on him right now. I'm sure he could probably move up in my rankings a little bit when he gets closer to the season. And I think Ryan Matthews might end up moving down because I think that Philadelphia is really not sold on him, and he's kind of injury prone.
He played better than Darren Fan, or not Darren Fan, I'm sorry. He played better than DeMarco Murray did last year.
He did outperform him. That's why he took his starting job.
Do you think, getting back to Carlos Hyde, do you think people are going to be really low on Carlos Hyde? Like, do you think you could snag him up and pick up a steal?
And you know what? At this point in the season, he is going at a pretty decent value. Like I think he's going like 4th, 5th round.
I mean, if you picked him up in the 5th round and he got 1,200 yards for you and like 8 touchdowns,
that's an absolute steal. That's an absolute steal.
You consider that a steal?
That's an absolute steal. Yes, you don't get too many 1,000-yard backs in the 5th or 6th round. You just don't.
I mean, I don't think it would shock you if that happens.
A little bit, just because of the team they play for. I think that they're going to be stacking the box a lot against San Francisco. So that might make it a little bit harder on him. But he should at least get over 1,000.
I think he might be something to watch out for.
I wholeheartely agree with you.
Well, we spent enough time on that.
Yeah. I know I told everyone earlier in the show about this. My tier 7, I have a lot of like receiving backs. Like I told you, I have Gio Bernard, I have TJ Yeldon, I got Woodhead, and I got Frank Gore, and I got Ajayi. Frank Gore could easily be moved out if Indianapolis drafts a running back, but right now he's the only one they got.
He was found me out last year.
He was a RB1 last year. He was in the top 12.
You know, like he's still good. He's still got a little bit left in the tank, man.
You know, he only had 3.7 yards a carry, and if he stays the starter, I don't see that yards per carry going up very much. But I don't see him getting hurt, and if he does get hurt, he plays through it. That's what I love about him. He's a bulldog.
I feel like, what do you think? We see him going in around like 6 or 7?
He's going right around like 8 or 9.
Yeah.
Like a lot of these guys are going a lot later in the draft. Like I think Bernard's going like 7 and 8. I think Yeldon's going around 7 and 8. Gore's going like 8 and 9. Ajayi's going way too early for my liking, though. Ajayi's going to like the 4th or 5th. I think that's just too early for him. He's unproven. I know he had some flashes last year, but the Dolphins really aren't sold on Ajayi. They've been trying to sign all these other running backs. I'm just not a buyer on Ajayi. Who do you think out of this group could probably like be the best out of the tier 7?
Oh, that's a good question.
I mean, I was really liking Yeldon until they signed Chris Ivory. I think that really hurts his value, especially in the touchdown department.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, obviously, at the tier 7, you don't really like any of them that much.
I mean, they're guys that make good depth, and they're guys that you want on your bench that you could potentially put in as a starter.
I think they're guys that could come in 1 week randomly and get like 60 yards and a touchdown, but then they don't play for the next 4 games. The next 4 games they don't even play.
Well, I mean, if you're playing in a PPR league, these guys could still bring some value to your team.
If that's the case, I would go with Theo Riddick.
Yeah, I do like Theo Riddick. I forgot to mention him. He is my tier 7 as well.
And I think no one even heard of that guy until maybe last year. I think there's still people that don't even know who he is.
Yeah, I mean, unless you're like a football diehard, you probably don't.
You know? You get him late.
Yeah, he's going right around the same area as like a Frank Gore and like a Justin Forsett, like 8th, 9th round.
Yeah.
Is there any other running backs that you would feel like they need to be mentioned? Because we're almost at the end of the running back tier here.
No, I'm good with that.
Well, I'm just gonna rattle off some names. I want you to think if there's anyone that can make a serious impact. Chris Ivory, Melvin Gordon, Justin Forsett, Amir Abdullah, Charles Sims.
Charles Sims.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of Charles Sims this year. I'll be having probably his stock in every one of my teams because you can get him late, and he's gonna. You know, he was one of the only running backs last year that got 500 yards rushing, 500 yards receiving. The only other running back that did that was Devontae Freeman.
He's got good size and speed.
Yeah, I mean, he passes the eye test for sure.
And if Doug Martin gets injured, he's gonna play a lot.
I was talking to Mo on Pyromaniacs earlier today on Twitter, and he agrees. Like, he really likes Charles Sims, and I think there's a lot to take in with him. But you know,
he's somebody that he's on your radar.
He's high on my radar. I'm looking to take him.
Maybe if he doesn't get drafted.
Oh, he'll definitely get drafted for sure.
I'm saying maybe you can get him, you can trade for him, or scoop him up, or is he somebody you would be looking to draft?
I think he's looking to draft. A lot of other people are drafted. Like I said, he's getting drafted in like the 8th or 9th round.
I'm saying though, if you were playing, would you want to draft him?
Oh yes, like I said, I might have him on every one of my teams.
Like you got players that you're targeting specifically.
Yeah, I mean, if we're going as far as running backs, it really depends on what route I want to take. Am I going wide receiver heavy in the first round? Then I might take like some running backs you can get at later value, like a C.J. Anderson, like a Jonathan Stewart, and Latavius Murray, guys like that. But if I'm like just drafting at a value, I really like if you're drafting at the end of the first round, getting AP. I like getting maybe a Jamal Charles towards like the end of the first, early second. I like getting myself some a lot of fucking Sims. Guys like Woodhead. I do like some Carlos Hyde, like and C.J. Anderson just because of the value you can get out of them.
I think Carlos Hyde could be a steal, man.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people are down on him because he's coming off an injury-riddled season.
I mean, we'll see.
Yeah, are you ready to move into some wide receivers?
Yeah.
All right. Who do you got in your tier 1? I think it's really clear who the top 3 are.
Yeah, you got obviously Antonio Brown, Julio Jones, and Odell Beckham Jr., I think.
That's exactly what I have. I had a little debate with myself on the last show of who I liked more out of Beckham and Julio, and I think I am starting to lead more towards Beckham over Julio.
He's such a prima donna.
I agree, but I think that he does play on like the better offense because it seems like Atlanta just hates using Julio in the red zone for some odd reason. And I just think that Eli Manning is a better quarterback than Matt Ryan.
I agree with both of those points.
I mean, really, when it comes down to receiver, if you're like debating on who you'd rather have, a lot of times it comes down to who has the better quarterback. But yeah, we since we all agree on the tier 1s, we're just going to move right into the tier 2s. Like, I mean, I think a lot of these guys you'll probably agree on as well. Like, who do you have in the tier 2? I got Hopkins, Allen Robinson, Des Bryant, and A.J. Green.
I put Jordan Nelson in there, too.
I was just about to ask if you would put him in there, because I thought about it, but I decided to put him at the top of my tier 3 instead.
Yeah, that injury last year doesn't really concern me that much. That injury happened in the preseason, so he's had plenty of time. It's not like he's being rushed back. He's had plenty of time to rehab that knee.
I mean,
that was an isolated injury. I've never heard of him being injured any time before that, so.
I mean, you know, he was seen running and jumping up and down on the field when Aaron Rodgers threw that Hail Mary against the Lions. So to me, that proves that he's fully healed from that ACL injury by now.
Yeah, I mean, I think he'll be. I think he'll come back, and we'll see what we're used to seeing out of him.
Yeah, I don't have an issue with him being in the tier 2. I don't know. I guess I just limited it to 4 players. I don't know. I really think that Des Bryant, though, I think his value is more reliant upon whether or not Tony Romo stays healthy. That's the only thing that scares the hell out of me about Des Bryant. You got Romo that's just made of glass.
So you haven't said Michael Floyd yet. What's up with that?
I got Mike. There's just a lot of good receivers. That's what it is. Like wide receivers are a really deep position.
Okay.
Like I think I wrote Michael Floyd down in my my tier 6 just because of how many good receivers there are, and the fact that there's like a trio of receivers in Arizona to where like it could hurt his value a little bit. But I do think he's the best receiver in Arizona. Who do you got in tier 3?
Tier 3, I'd say Michael Floyd. Maybe Mike Evans, just because of how many targets he's going to get.
I could see Mike Evans. I was thinking about putting him in the tier 3 if he could get like some better hands.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely a red zone threat, and
He's 6'5", yeah.
Jameis Winston likes throwing though. He's going to get a lot of opportunities. Just what's he going to do? Hey, I got Mike Evans. Maybe.
What about Alshon Jeffrey?
Yeah, I was thinking Alshon Jeffrey. I was thinking. Who did I say? Michael Floyd.
You said Michael Floyd. You said Michael Floyd. You said Evans, and you said you'd probably put Jeffrey in there.
And that's about it for that. Tier 4, I would say.
Well, I got some players in there that when I ask you about whether you would put them in tier 3. What about a Keenan Allen or a Sammy Watkins?
Oh yeah, Keenan Allen definitely. Sammy Watkins, no.
Just not enough volume there in Buffalo.
No, I don't think he's. No, I'd say he's tier 4.
Okay, that's fair. I got Mike Evans. I got Mike Evans in tier 4, so.
Yeah. I think Mike Evans is a better choice than Sammy Watkins. If you ask me who would I choose, I would take Mike Evans.
Who else you got? You were starting to name off your tier 4?
I'll go Sammy Watkins as a tier 4. I'll go with Golden Tate. The only thing that hurts Golden Tate is his touchdowns. He's not a big dude in the red zone.
What about a Brandon Cooks?
No.
Brandon Marshall, Demaryius Thomas.
Oh, I haven't even said Demaryius Thomas is a tier 2. Well, maybe not now because they don't have a quarterback.
That's the only reason why I have him down at tier 4, man. Because butt fumble is not going to give him the ball that well.
Yeah. Brandon Marshall is a tier 3. Demaryius Thomas for tier 4.
What about a Julian Edelman?
No. He's a little bit lower.
Yeah, I got him in tier 5. I was just bringing up someone for you.
He's a good role player, but he's not that good.
I mean, he gets a lot of receptions, but he doesn't get a lot of yards. He's not a touchdown monster.
You know, he's great at like 9-yard catches.
He's a guy that's going to get you like 100 catches for like 1,000 yards.
Yeah, which is great for a PPR league.
Yeah.
So
I got a lot of those kind of guys in my tier 5 that are just like guys that'll get you a lot of catches, but maybe not get you very many yards. Like my tier 5 consists of like Julian Edelman, Jarvis Landry, T.Y. Hilton, like those type of players.
Yeah.
And I guess I could put Golden Tate in tier 5. I have Golden Tate in tier 6 for some reason, but
he's a good talent, but you're not really sure what you're going to get out of him. You don't know how many touchdowns you're going to get out of him, and he's not really a big deep threat. But he's tough. He'll go over the middle, and he'll turn short passes in a long game.
You know, he could probably get you 1,200 yards if he gets back to his yards after the catch. He really didn't have any yards after the catch last year. I think that's what hurt his yardage total.
Yeah. And now that Talon's gone, I wouldn't be surprised to see his yards go up a little bit.
I mean, I could see his yards going up a little bit, and I could see maybe like Ebron's numbers going up a little bit, but more so Golden Tate because I'm not a really big fan. I mean, I do have Ebron as my sleeper, but I just don't know what I'm going to get out of him as well. But we're getting a little bit off topic with the tight ends. But who else would you put in tier 5? Would you put a Jeremy Maclin or Amari Cooper?
Sure, yeah.
I mean, tier 6 and tier 7, I named off like a shit ton of players. Like I got they're really big just because I think they're all kind of like almost like in the same area as far as stats go. Like there a lot of them are number 2 options on their team. Like I got Decker, Cobb, Baldwin, Tate, Hearn, Sanders, Jordan Matthews, Michael Floyd, and I got Kelvin Benjamin all in tier 6.
What about like a John Brown?
I got John Brown in tier 7.
Yeah, he's a deep threat, you know?
I mean, he's a guy that, like, he'll have his games, but he'll also be absent from a couple of games as well.
Yeah. He's like the guy that gets, like, 3 catches for 115 yards.
Yeah, that's him to a T.
Yeah.
Maybe. I mean, Cobb, he proved that he's just not a number 1 receiver. He's clearly a number 2. I think Decker's probably one of the best number 2 receivers in the league, just because of his red zone presence.
Emmanuel Sanders is pretty good.
I you know what? I think that his numbers will go down more than what Demaryius Thomas's will go down next year, though. That's the only thing I'm a little bit scared about Emmanuel Sanders. I do think he's a pretty good talent, but
You're scared of Buff Fumble.
yeah, I guess I'm more afraid of Buff Fumble than I am of Sanders. I mean,
I really think he's terrible.
I mean, he was okay in Philadelphia for a little bit, but I mean, there's a reason why he's not. There's a reason why he's going to his 3rd team. I mean, I think we both agree that we're not really like high on Hearns this year. And you know what? I feel bad for him because he's just not being utilized in that offense. I think he had like 20 catches last year or some shit like that. Like, he just...
I've heard people say he's the best deep threat in the NFL.
Yeah, I have to highly disagree with that. Like, I can probably... There's probably at least 10 other guys I'd rather have than him as a deep threat. I mean, especially for the team he plays for now, like, Colin Kaepernick, he can't give him the ball. Blaine Gabbert, I mean... He's being praised by Chip Kelly, but I don't think he's anything special at all. He was alright, but like, I don't know, I'm just not a big fan of San Francisco. I'm kind of like I just want to stay away from all the receivers and their quarterbacks. The only guy I think is worth a damn is Carlos Hyde.
Yeah, they're a dumpster fire.
Yeah, they're a shitload of fuck. What do you think about, you think Kelvin Benjamin will be alright? I mean, I know he was another guy that tore his ACL really early in the year.
Who?
Kelvin Benjamin?
Oh, I think he could be pretty good, yeah.
I think that you could actually get him at a value, I think, because people are a little bit down on him because he only played one full season, really.
Yeah, I think he could be a tier 4 receiver.
I mean, just look at what Jin did with Cam Newton, and now he gets Kelvin Benjamin. Like, that's good. That's real good.
They're not the same player though.
Well, no, what I'm saying is if Ted Ginn Jr. can get 10 touchdowns, you know that Benjamin can get 10 touchdowns.
Again, it's just a complete deep threat, nothing else.
Well, he's a guy that he's not real fast. He's more of a guy that just throw it up and let him get the jump ball. That's what he is.
Yeah, he's a big dude. Still,
I mean, he's got Kelvin Johnson type size. Just doesn't have He just doesn't have Kelvin Johnson's speed.
No. I'm saying though, Ted Ginn, to say that Ted Ginn has success, so that Kelvin Benjamin is going to have success, I feel like that's two completely different things.
Well, what I'm saying is I don't think that Jinn's a very good receiver, and he had 10 touchdowns.
He played good last year?
He had less than 50 catches, but he had 10 touchdowns.
Because he got open on deep balls.
That's it. All right. I'm gonna. A lot of these other players, they could be useful. I'm just gonna rattle them off. I want you to know what your opinion are on some of them. I mean, we already talked about John Brown, Devontae Parker, Michael Crabtree, Deshaun Jackson, Larry Fitzgerald. Any of those names appeal to you at all?
I'm gonna probably stay away from all of them. If I had to pick one, no. Deshaun Jackson disappears from games at times. Larry Fitzgerald getting old. I think Michael Crabtree just blows.
You don't like the upside of Devontae Parker at all?
No, not really. I'll pass.
I think he could lead his team in touchdowns this year.
Why? Why do you think that?
Well, I mean, Jarvis Landry, he's not a red zone threat at all. He doesn't score. He hardly scores any touchdowns. And Devontae Parker's a big guy that can really get open in the red zone. And he kind of turned it on towards the end of the year a little bit. I think he had like the last 6 games of the year, he had 22 catches for 300 yards, and he had 4 touchdowns. So he's showing what he can do. It's all whether or not he wants to excel under Adam Gase. That's the only thing that I really like about that is him getting a better offensive coordinator.
You're saying maybe if they use him a little bit more, he could do better things?
I think that I think they will use him more. They got rid of Rashard Matthews. They got rid of Greg Jennings. Kenny Stills, I think, is more of like a slot burner type of player. I think they. So I think that they'll use Devontae Parker a lot more going into next year.
Didn't they have Brian Hartline?
No, he was at the Browns last year actually.
I'm glad no one mentioned his name until I just did.
Yeah, honestly, I don't even know if he's playing with the Browns anymore. He's not really worth mentioning.
Indeed.
The last tier that I went through, there's some names that could be appealing. I got Tyler Lockett, Travis Benjamin, Diggs, Darrell Green Beckham, and Marvin Jones.
Yeah, I've heard good things about Marvin Jones. I haven't really watched him play that much, but I heard he's a good all-around receiver.
Do you think the Lions overpaid for him at all?
Probably, but they were desperate to replace Delvin Johnson.
I mean, he was the best thing that was available in the free agency, so you knew he was going to get paid, and the Lions were the ones that said, yes, we'll pay you.
Yeah, they needed to get some money.
I could see him getting 900 yards and 6 touchdowns, somewhere in that area.
Yep, and if he did that, he would be a good flex player, or maybe a decent number 2 receiver on your team.
Yeah, I'm not real big on Diggs because of his quarterback. Darrell Green Beckham, I think, is a little bit too raw still. I know a lot of people are high on him, and I think he could be a touchdown guy, but because of his size, but he's still kind of raw and inconsistent.
So the question I'm wondering now: Do you think it would be a smart strategy to draft 2 wide receivers in your first 2 picks?
I think that's the route that a lot of people are going to be taking this year is drafting back-to-back receivers. So I mean it's not a bad idea because wide receivers tend to pose less of a threat of getting injured during the season, and they tend to be more consistent from year to year as opposed to running backs where they're always getting the ball, so they have more of a chance of getting injured. And a lot of teams are starting to move towards a committee, so you always got to take that into consideration.
Well, could you imagine this? Let me just get out of this, right?
All right.
Let's say you got, in the first round, you drafted Rob Gronkowski.
Okay.
The best tight end in the league.
That's a good idea.
And then in the second round, you got somebody like Jordy Nelson. Right? That's probably where he would go, right?
Yeah, he's going in the second right now.
And then the third round, you got somebody
like a Keenan Allen?
Benjamin, or Mike Evans.
I would say that's a pretty good draft so far.
And then in the fourth round, you try to scoop up a Carlos Hyde.
Or you can get like a C.J. Anderson or something like that. Yeah, that's not a bad. Those are targets you can go for in like the 4th round. You're not far off base.
And then
You're not totally crazy for saying this, man. That's actually not a bad strategy.
Because I'm thinking that's what would make sense to me. But there's also going to be those guys that want to draft that stud running back in the first round. So I think if you do that, it changes the dynamics of how you draft the rest of the way.
You know, there was only one running back last year that went in the first round that wasn't a bust, and that was Adrian Peterson.
Yeah. I feel like receivers are safer to pick than running backs.
And yeah, the running backs, like I said, a lot of them are going to like split committees. And if I'm drafting a running back for a team that has a committee, I'm probably taking the running back that's going later rather than the running back that's going earlier. I'm a big proponent on that. Yeah, it's a little bit more of what I want to get into for the next show. We pretty much cleared the wide receivers. We're gonna take a 2-minute break, and then we'll get into the tight ends. So the tight ends shouldn't take that long.
Soon it was commonplace for entire teams to change cities in search of greater profits. The Minneapolis Lakers moved to Los Angeles, where there are no lakes. The Oilers moved to Tennessee, where there is no oil. The Jazz moved to Salt Lake City, where they don't allow music. The Oakland Raiders moved to L.A. and then back to Oakland. No one in Los Angeles seemed to notice. The search for greener pastures went on unabated. Continued expansion diluted the talent pool, forcing owners to recruit heavily from prisons, mental institutions, and Texas. Fist fighting and brawling permeated every sport, overshadowing any athletic competition. As the problems mounted, the fans became less and less interested.
All right, fifth downers, we're going to get into the tight ends here. I think it's pretty obvious about the tight end one, or the tight end tier 1. I mean, to me, I only have one guy there. What about you, Rico? What do you think?
I feel that it's obvious that Gronk is number 1.
Yeah, I think it's Gronk and everybody else, man, just like you were saying offline. I mean,
I think Delaney Walker is number 2.
You know, I do like Delaney Walker. I think just because of like where he's going, I don't really have him as a tier 2, but I have him as a tier 2 talent. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I feel like his numbers will be there.
He's the tight end that I want to draft this year because of where he's going. You're getting great value out of Delaney Walker. He's going in like the 7th round. I think that's excellent value for the guy that he led the league in receptions for tight ends last year.
Yeah, he's like a 90 catch straight up.
Yeah, and he was the number 2 tight end last year, and he did it very quietly. Like he's a guy that I want. Like, I'm sorry, I want him. He's my tight end that I want.
You know, you can draft a bunch of stud receivers, running backs, a good quarterback.
So
and then the 7th round, he'll still be sitting there, and you just scoop it up.
Yep, that's my plan, and I think that should be everyone else's plan too. I mean, obviously not everyone could do that, but that's why we have some other players in here. Like, who else would you put in tier 2 with Delaney Walker?
Maybe Jimmy Graham, if he can go back to his old ways.
Wait, who? Wait, who?
Who knows? I said Jimmy Graham, if he can go back to his old ways.
I don't, honestly, I'm not expecting anything out of him. I don't even have Jimmy Graham in my top 20 this year. I mean, if he goes back to what he was, then obviously, yeah, he's going to produce. But I'm not expecting a whole lot out of him.
What about Jason Witten?
You know, he's really getting up there in age. I have him. I'm a lot lower on him actually. My tier 2 guys I have in there is I got Jordan Reed and Greg Olsen.
Oh yes, Greg Olsen, absolutely.
Most consistent tight. He's a very consistent tight end. I mean, he's out of team that doesn't really have great receivers. You got Kelvin Benjamin and you got Greg Olsen.
He does get a lot of targets, and the dude gets open.
Yeah, I traded for him last year, and it was probably the best trade I ever made. And then I traded him away, and I was like, damn, I probably should have just kept him. Well, at the time that I traded him, I lost Arian Foster and I lost Deion Lewis, So I was in a need for a running back, and I traded for Lamar Miller because he was hot, and then Lamar Miller wasn't hot for the rest of the year.
So he burned you.
Well, I mean, Greg Olsen didn't do really that good either, so it kind of hurt both of us. But and to find out, I really didn't even need to do that because I ended up picking up guys up like Thomas Rolls and Steven Drons. I picked up a lot, and Jeremy Lankford, like guys that were coming into the starting role. I was fine at right. I ended up having like 8 running backs on my team.
Okay.
But yeah, that's all I have really in the tier 2 is those 3.
So basically, it's Rob Gronkowski is going to go. Isn't it crazy? Rob Gronkowski is going to go in the first round, and then your next best guy is not scheduled to go until like the 6th round.
Well, no, Jordan Reed has been going in like the 3rd round, the back end of the 3rd round, and then you got Greg Olsen going in the 5th.
So you're saying that Greg Olsen and Jordan Reed will be gone, and Delaney Walker will still be there?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. That's why I like Delaney Walker so much. I mean, granted, I know it's still April, and that could change by the time you're actually ready to draft. But at this point in the season, Delaney Walker's an excellent value.
He might end up outproducing Greg Olsen.
He very well may. He very well may. He did last year.
Well,
And at least from a PPR standing, he outproduced him.
I mean, after those guys, it's like, oh my God, who cares? You know, you got.
I mean, there's a couple of decent players still left after that. Like in my tier 3, I got I don't really like Tyler Eifert, but I put him in a tier 3. Travis Kelce, I'd have Travis Kelce in a tier 3.
Yeah, Travis Kelce's decent.
I kind of don't like Kansas City's passing volume. I wish they would give Kelce more targets, but he's the number 2 option on that team behind Jeremy Maclin. I got a really large tier 5. What do you think about this tier 5 I have? I got Kobe Fleener, Antonio Gates, ASJ, Ertz, and Jason Witten. I have Zach Ertz in my tier 5, yeah. I mean, there's.
I bought about like 2 fantasy football magazines in the past for a few years, and I always had Zach Ertz on the sleepers list. You know,
He is the sleeper every year, but he never does shit. He's absolutely a ghost in the red zone. He is a ghost. Yeah, and once again, everyone's labeling him as a sleeper again this year, but I'm not buying it, man. How many years in a row can you be a sleeper? I mean, he must be a fucking coma. I mean, yeah, he's terminal. I kind of skipped over tier 4. I mean, they're kind of guys that are a little bit middle of the road, like Ladarius Green, Julius Thomas, and Gary Barnage. I mean, I know Gary Barnage was really good last year, but he's more of a journeyman guy that I don't really think is going to repeat what he did last year. So that's why I have him at tier 4. What do you think about that?
I'm not thinking away for either of those guys. Julius Thomas ain't been half of what he was in Denver.
I mean, I know he missed like half the season last year, but still, I don't really care for the team that he plays. He has to compete with Hearns and Allen Robinson for targets. I'm just not a big proponent. I'm not really big on him.
No.
I think out of that tier, I like Ladarius Green the most out of those 3.
You like him the most?
I do like him the most. I think he plays in the best offense out of the 3 for sure.
I'll be honest, I don't really know a lot about him, so I don't have much to say about him.
Well, just put it this way: out of all his touchdown catches, I think his touchdown catches, he averages about like 19 yards a catch for his touchdowns. He's a guy that can really work the middle of the field really good. He's got great speed for a tight end.
deep threat for tight ends.
He is. He has great speed.
He can beat the safeties down the middle.
He's never been able to start over Antonio Gates. That's been the biggest issue with him. And now he plays for Pittsburgh, so his door is open.
So this is his chance to shine.
And they gave him a pretty good deal, and he gets to get into that starting role. So we'll see what he can do. Another sleeper that I have him in tier 5 is Austin Seferian-Jenkins. I think that he could be a really good player if he could stay healthy. What do you think about that? I know Tampa Bay's your favorite team.
Well, Detroit's my favorite team, but I also really like Tampa Bay.
Okay. What do you think about Seferian-Jenkins?
That's funny, because I heard your last podcast where you mentioned his name, and you talked about he's a big body, he's a tight, he's a touchdown threat. You know, he played like 7 games and he had 4 touchdowns or something, that's what you were saying. But
Yep.
the fact of the matter is he's been in the NFL for 2 seasons, and he's missed more time than he's played.
I understand that he's a huge injury risk, but so was Jordan Reed before last year, and he really came alive. You know what I mean?
Jordan Reed, he looks like a basketball player playing tight end.
I mean, he's another guy that I think can get 90 catches
Yeah.
if he stays healthy.
I mean, do you have Jones and Jackson? Are those two the answers at wide receiver?
No, not at all. I honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they drafted a receiver.
I mean, at one point, Pierre Garcon was a pretty good NFL wide receiver. At one point, Deshaun Jackson was the best deep threat in the NFL. But
you know what I like about Deshaun Jackson, though?
What?
Yeah, he's probably just a deep threat, but he's going in like the 10th, 11th round. And I love that value for him. To be like your 4th or 5th receiver on your team, that's pretty good.
I mean, you can definitely put him in at times, and like if he's got a favorable matchup, he might come in and get 3 catches for 100 yards.
You just never you never know when he's gonna get that 20-point game. He can get you 20. He can get you 20 points, or he can give you a goose egg.
He's very hit or miss.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree.
He doesn't go over the middle. He doesn't go over the middle. He's pretty much only useful on like go routes and curl routes, and the corners are giving him a ton of cushion.
I mean, I think that it does make I think it's a pretty good duo of Jordan Reed and Deshaun Jackson, though, so that could be something to look into.
It could.
And especially for them playing in the NFC. The NFC East is not known for their defense, so. Is there any other tight ends that you could think of that we haven't mentioned yet?
No. We haven't mentioned Eric Ebron.
I think if he could work on his hands, he could be a pretty good tight end, but we haven't seen that out of him yet.
He's really fast. He just can't catch.
Yep. What about Dwayne Allen? The Indianapolis Colts, they paid him starter money. They kept him, they got rid of Fleener.
I don't know anything about him. Well, I can't say. I'm going to ask you, what do you think about Jordan Cameron?
I want nothing to do with him. I already seen how they used him in Miami, and it was not. They just don't throw the tight end. They just don't do it.
He had a good season in Cleveland, and then he just fell off the map.
Yep. I mean, I'm just saying, like I don't have him in my top 20.
You feel like his career went to die when he just went to Miami?
They say they're going to use him more, but I just don't see it.
They should use him more.
They really should. I mean, they got like average receivers, really.
They're terrible.
Yeah.
They've got Kenny Stills.
What you don't really care about like some guy like a Charles Clay?
Yeah, he's not terrible.
I mean, he was actually startable for a portion of last season, but he really fell off towards the end.
What about that guy that used to play for the Rams last year?
Jared Cook, actually, I wanted to mention him. I don't really have him listed on here, but I did want to mention him. he got signed by the Packers. I mean, you got to like him playing with Aaron Rodgers over Nick Foles and Chase Keenum, right?
I don't know. He's a big dude.
I mean, he's a freak athlete that can never just put it together. He doesn't have good hands. He doesn't have good hands. He just has good speed. That's it.
If you saw him running around the field with his shirt off, you'd be like, man, this guy's impressive.
Yeah, I wholly agree. I mean, he's had some long touchdowns in the past, and I don't know if he's going to start over Richard Rodgers or not. I'm not really a fan of Richard Rodgers either, so.
Not bad.
I mean, to me, he's just another guy. He's just a guy that plays on a good offense.
He's tough. He just has no speed.
I mean, he has pretty good hands.
He does, and he makes contested catches in traffic.
I mean, the only reason why you could like him is because he plays for the Packers.
Yeah.
If he played for someone like Minnesota, if he played for like Minnesota or Buffalo, I wouldn't even mention his name.
He'd be undraftable.
I mean, he is.
He's kind of like Kyle Rudolph.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of him. That's another guy I didn't even list.
He had like one good season a few years ago, and then ever since that, he's just been on nothing.
Are you expecting anything out of Baltimore's tight ends? They have a slew of them.
They're like a tight end by committee.
Yeah, they got. I mean, they signed Ben Watson, who had a great season last year. They got with Max Williams. They got Crockett Gilmore. And I think Dennis Pitt is still on the team.
Dennis Pitt.
Yeah, he's made out of glass too. He's got like. Doesn't he have like a hip replacement or some shit like that? Like an old man?
He's like the guy in Madden that catches a 5-yard pass. You hit stick him and he just leaves the game and doesn't return.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not. I thought I was gonna like Crockett Gilmore a little bit until they signed Ben Watson, and now it's like I want nothing to do with their tight ends at all.
I mean, Ben Watson has been in the NFL for a long time.
I think he's like 36 years old or some shit like that.
Yeah, he played with New England with Tom Brady for a while, and he's okay there. He played good. I think.
Speaking of New England real fast, are you expecting anything out of Martellus Bennett?
Oh, he did go to New England.
He did. He's going to be their number 2 behind Gronk. Do you think they're going to try and relive those Aaron Hernandez days, or do you think that he's just going to be in there for blocking?
No, I think they'll use him, but I don't think I think it'll be too hard to predict when they'll use him, so I wouldn't want to draft him.
Yeah, it's another guy that I think I have him ranked at like 19, but like it's not a guy that I want.
They're just stacking up their depth right now, man. Is what they're doing. They've got so many players over there. You know, they can come in the 2 tight end set, and it's like, okay, do you want to cover Gronk and leave Martellus Bennett open? Well, we'll just start you with Bennett.
I know we already covered the wide receivers, but do you think that Chris Hogan will do anything in New England?
No.
You don't think he'll get any playing time over Amendola at all?
I don't care all about Chris Hogan.
I mean, no, I know he was like a 3rd or 4th string receiver for Buffalo, so I was kind of surprised. I was kind of surprised about the contract that he got with New England. But
I don't understand the move, to be honest.
I mean, you gotta like Tom Brady throwing the ball to him though.
I just don't understand the move. Like, why would you pay all this money to some dude that can't defend in Buffalo?
I mean, in 2014, he made LaFell look like a competent receiver. So anything can happen. I think, by the way, LaFell blows. Like, I can't believe that Cincinnati signed him and said, you know what, we're okay with this.
They must have some plans.
Well, yeah, there are plans to draft another receiver. I mean, I'd be surprised if Cincinnati didn't draft a receiver.
They let Sanu go. They let Marvin Jones go.
You know, I thought they'd at least keep Sanu. I knew that Marvin Jones was going to be out the door, but I'm surprised they let Sanu go. I'm not saying that Sanu's really a good I think he's just kind of an average gadget little player. He's a gadget player at best. And so I'm really not expecting a whole lot of him over there in Atlanta. I think that both teams are in the running for drafting a receiver, Atlanta and Cincinnati.
There's a guy on my boat. He's a Cincinnati Bengals fan, and he used to be really high on Muhammad Sanu. He would talk about him, telling me how great Sanu was.
Well, that's his first mistake right there.
I was just like, I don't know what you're talking about, man, but
yeah,
somebody thinks Sanu was good.
Yeah, I work with some guy. He's a Cleveland Brown fan, and the first thing I could thought was, man, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
He's like, watch, Josh Gordon's gonna get reinstated back when it comes around August time. I was like, yeah, we'll see, man. He can't lay down the blunt at all, man.
He cannot. We don't blame him for that.
Yeah. But, I think that pretty much wraps up our show. We're almost getting on 2 hours strong. Is there any last words that you want to say, Rico?
I think we said it all, man. I'm not good when you put me on the spot like that.
Yeah, it's cool, man. I always got to keep you on your toes.
Hey, I'm saying thanks for having me.
Yeah, it was great having you. I always love having you on this show, man. You always bring a different aspect to it. That's why I like having you on. And we hope to have you on more in the future.
Definitely.
All right, I'm gonna let you go, brother.
All right, adios.
All right, man. Have a good night.
Yep, thanks.
And that will conclude our show for the Fifth Down. I hope you really liked it. It was something a little bit different that's going to lead into our next show. Hopefully we'll have it either Thursday or this weekend. It's going to be all about draft strategy and like what we would do compared to what other people would do. It's going to be a really interesting show. I really hope that you guys will come in and tune in and listen. I really like to thank our friends over at Team Manager. They've been a great little site that we've started getting into. They do DFS and season-long lineups. They help you out. They have actually their beta will be available on the 6th of May. So go over there and check them out at www.fantasyteammanager.com. It's a great little setup they have. Just check it out. I really just want you guys to come like us on Facebook at the Fifth Down. Check out our app that we have on Google Play, just Fantasy Football, the Fifth Down Fantasy Football. We're on Google Play. We have an app that has all our shows. Never miss a minute. Together we will win a championship. I just like to say good night and adios.